We're joined by Dan Perry, international affairs analyst, in the studio with us. Dan, it struck me, obviously, President Biden, delivering a strong, prepared statement of speech in support of Israel's live speech. Highly appreciated to hear the President of the United States emerge as such a strong friend and ally. But what's your impression of how the world is really waking up? If we can generally, look at that situation, how's the world waking up to what's playing out here, what seems to be developing here?
Israel was attacked in the most vicious and barbaric way by terrorists who do not have the support of the world. So Israel, I think, has a lot of sympathy right now.
You think that message, though, is clear to most looking in at this point?
Most people don't follow the news, but people who are engaged, I think the sympathy is with Israel, both in the West, North America and Europe, and also across the Arab world, where Hamas is understood to be part of an Islamist vanguard under the control of Iran to various degrees, that is itself at war with moderate Sunni countries that surround Israel. So I think Israel has some latitude to respond here, but the line of credit is not without limits.
That's a big question right now. I mean, you look back at other large-scale moments of conflict, whether it be 2014, 2006, where that sort of international backing had its limits, but did create openings for Israel to take big action at the time.
It absolutely did, and the provocation by the other side then was to a degree lesser. The idea of rockets being fired at Israel for a while had currency, but then the world kind of noticed that the rockets are not that deadly, and Iron Dome increasingly is able to handle them. So, when Israel is hardly absorbing any losses, and in Gaza the opposite is true, of course that affects the narrative. Right now, dozens and maybe more people kidnapped, old women, children, young couples,
still unknown,
begging for their lives, hundreds of people massacred in the streets, foaming at the mouth, terrorists streaming across the border. These are images that obviously, tragically, create sympathy for the side that's been attacked. As far as I can see, the basic lay of the land has not changed. For Israel to take over Gaza with a ground operation that dislodges Hamas would be so costly that one can hardly imagine the numbers involved. And of course, there's every chance that would draw in other players like Hezbollah, which is also in the thrall of Iran, and of course, Palestinians in the West Bank. There is a strong Hamas presence there, and God forbid, even to the point of involving extremist groups among the Arab citizens of Israel, who, it must be noted, are generally loyal citizens who want nothing to do with any of this, but there are extremist elements there, and so the potential for a conflagration is considerable.
Yes,
we all the time wanted to keep this divide between a religious conflict into the national conflict of a territory, statehood, and so on. And right now, this is the lines are blurred, and we have to be very careful. And a battlefield in the Gaza Strip will take huge losses. And there are a few steps on the way forward. The first, we have to contain the territories, the southern territories. Second, we have to see what's with the hostage issue. Then we have to hit those leaders of Hamas, and then consider whether we want a large-scale operation in taking Gaza again, because this would have to be with some kind of agreement with our neighboring countries, with Egypt, with Jordan, with the Saudi initiative. This would be a larger-scale story, and we have to think very carefully about it. But then we have to think what to do next. What's the next step? And this is where you would need your allies.
What will happen? Most Arabs now talk about fight. It's like, more feelings to support the Palestinians. But also it's a reminder for Netanyahu. Through his speech in United Nations, he said that the Palestinians just 200%, and they are not representative any kind of Arabs. I think now it's a big message for Netanyahu. No, many Arabs already support the Palestinians, and all of these peace agreements, it's just politics, not between the people.
Well, that is one of the glaring issues. Rami Aman, thanks for joining us from Cairo. Dan, less than a minute we have left. What are your thoughts here seeing this?
Arabs certainly support the Palestinians writ large, but very few really support Hamas. I think they're somewhat isolated, and as we say, Israel has latitude. I would hope that other players like Hezbollah are not tempted to think that the government's extremely unwise and self-defeating divisions that it's sown throughout Israel really render Israel weak.
Seem to
Because
open the
Israel
door for
has a
us.
way of becoming resilient very quickly when attacked.
Dan Perry, thanks for being with us. We'll be back. Another short break here. More special coverage coming your way.